Okay, here's a Roccat Tyon, and that's what you get in the box. Quick installation guide and the mouse. Alright, so first question, can this mouse handle rocket jumps? Meaning, can it actually handle the flicks and not spin out? And the answer is yes. But you'll notice that I'm not as smooth as the other videos, and that's because the mouse is big and heavy and it's really hard to actually do this with. I mean, I can, but it's not very good. So yes, it can handle flicks, but it's not very good for rocket jumping or flick shots in general. Now, furthermore, the aim is also affected by the mouse being bigger. My hands are roughly 18 or 19 centimeters base to tip. So if you have a bigger hand, it should be okay for you. However, the weight is an issue. So while it's not impossible to aim with this, I mean, these are bots, so they're going to be easy to hit. It doesn't feel like you can aim it. So the thing with this mouse is that it's advertised as an MMO and FPS mouse. I would say definitely yes for the MMOs because you have so many buttons at your disposal. But no, not to FPS because it is too heavy and just too big. I mean, unless you got a big hand, it's going to be an issue. It's more the weight that's going to be a problem. Here's an up-close look at the mouse. It is a really nice shape, feels good in the hands. I will say that it doesn't have the grooves in the buttons, so your fingers don't fit nicely in there. But they're comfortable enough. The materials are amazing. This is a high quality mouse in that regard. You've got a slight groove on the right hand side here. Plenty of space. It's mostly flat though, so plenty of space for your fingers. Like this, or if you want a claw grip, you can do whatever you want with that. I just wouldn't recommend fingertip because you can't really get to these buttons on the side if you do. But claw grip, up close like that, or palm grip, not an issue at all. Speaking of the buttons, you have your easy shift down here, which is nice and easy to press with your thumb. Back and forward buttons, they're a bit oddly shaped because they're thin underneath this thumb paddle, but they do feel good, like you can press them in. And generally, my thumb is sitting on the back here and also the front, so I can hit both of the big areas. The thumb paddle, if you hold it up, it'll stay up, but as soon as you release it, down it goes. And it goes down as well, of course. On the top you have a left and right shift. It does not click down. The mouse wheel is really nice on this mouse, and the buttons clicking quite well on the side too. I haven't found that I've accidentally hit them too much, but I have heard other people have had that issue, so just be aware of it. You will need to make sure your fingers stay in the center. Unfortunately, they've kind of angled the buttons toward them, so your fingers can slip downward. This is where grooves would really come in handy because your finger would be forced to sit inside the middle there rather than being a rounded surface and hitting these or going toward these buttons. Had a similar issue with the G502. It's a nice braided cable, not too stiff, it's fairly soft. Going back to the left side, you can see this really big thumb area. I found that to be quite comfortable. And here's the shape on the sides. It does feel pretty comfortable in the hand for palm and claw grip, but fingertip grip, I'm not a fan on this mouse. Loving the light line around here. Does look really cool. The top surface is somewhat smooth but with a slight roughness. Very comfortable to leave your fingers on. And this is a fairly rough surface but all plastic. But it still feels really good. I do prefer the rubber coating. I'm not sure if they're less durable than this plastic. Overall, the materials used are really good. I'm quite happy with them. Here's the size comparison. So you can see that it's a little bit taller and a little bit wider at the top. Actually, even at the base, it's quite wide. It looks to be about the same length, but taller, wider, just bulkier. If it had the grooved buttons, this would probably be more comfortable than the Death Adder though. And there you can see they're basically the same shape. The Death Adder is just a bit lower back here. Here's a quick look at the software. You have the color control and you can set the mouse wheel and the light underneath it to different colors if you want. You do have RGB lighting, you can choose anything you want. In the advanced control you have sensitivity options, but also tracking control units so you can recalibrate to the pad. You can change the lift-off distance, so off, normal, low or extra low. The button assignment allows for a lot of options. And with the easy shift you can change any of the buttons to do whatever you like pretty much. They've got a bunch of macros in here for all different games just by default. And you can create a new macro too. The easy shift essentially doubles the amount of commands you have on your mouse. And with something like 15 buttons on the mouse, you essentially have 30 potential commands at your fingertips on one hand. You can have 5 DPI settings and several different profiles, and these go up in increments of 200 at a time. One thing I will point out is that it has a weird software issue, and that is when I hit apply on these settings, even though I didn't even change anything, it's going to take about 30 seconds to actually do it. So I'll keep on talking about other things. But watch. There it goes. Still going. I mean, unless it's writing every single bit of the config to the mouse again, and even then, like, why is it taking this long to actually change the setting? It can't be that hard, surely. In the Linux driver for this, it happens instantly, so whatever the Windows driver is doing, it needs to stop because it's still going, and that's ridiculous. For a mouse driver to take that long, I mean, oh, there it goes. So it's just a giant waste of time. This is a line test I'm doing now, where I just basically try to draw a straight line. You notice up the top, the Razer Abyssus 2014 at 3500 DPI isn't that great, but you can see some straight lines in it, so it's fairly good. But if you look at the Tyon underneath it, same DPI, but it's just really jittery all the way along. In fact, there's barely a straight line in there, except maybe that one. Then when you compare it to the Razer Mamba Tournament Edition at 16,000 DPI, plenty of straight lines in there, and one super straight line at 3500 DPI. And that's a laser sensor as well, so I guess not all laser sensors are bad, just the Tyon, or at least my version of it, isn't performing as it should. Now, I spoke to Roccat support, and they said they don't see a problem and it's not jittery, but I'm not so sure. I looked at their lines and they were kind of jittery as well, but I can't prove it beyond doubt, so I can't really claim it. However, they were very friendly, very helpful, and they spent the time at least trying and actually did a line test for me, so credit to them for that. But I'm just a bit worried about the Tyon sensor because of the jitteriness, and I'm just hoping that it's only my version and not all of them. So that's the basic conclusion on this mouse. Really good materials, well made, good mouse, good design, good shape. Everything seems quite good on it, except that it's too heavy, too big, and the sensor is an issue on mine, and it's just really not for first-person shooters. But it'd be really good for a lot of other games, so hope that helps your purchase choice. Any questions, comments, leave them below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you can, hit like on this video. It does actually help them come up in search results better, so more people will see them that way. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the Razer Mamba Tournament Edition review coming soon.